What up, John? Indoor Hydroponics, Outdoor Organics. Welcome back, people. So, last year I really lost focus or really didn't have time to shoot follow-up videos from my garden. I did, the garden bed prep and the plant out and all that good stuff. And here's some shots from 2022 of the bell peppers, and we had just an absolutely incredible year again. By following the same principles I've applied for year over year over year. I've learned them from YouTube. I've learned them from dope growers. I've learned it from reading and things of that nature. But bottom line is, you got to add more organic material than the plant will take out year over year over year. And if you do that, chances are you're going to have success, barring some sort of like serious fungal disease or some sort of bacteria or like a tornado ripping through your garden. For the most part, these things will survive insects and whatnot. And you get, for tomatoes and peppers, really, really good production, 100% organically. Again, so long as you put more organic material in some format, whether you're adding a whole bunch of stuff like me or just do-it-yourself compost or buying compost, getting the highest quality stuff into your soil and feeding the microbes so the microbes can feed your plants. It's the food soil web. It's very simple and yet complicated. But I try not to make it too complicated. Regardless, I tried to get most of the peppers last year to color up. I planted only reds, absolutely huge peppers last year. They were the biggest peppers I've ever grown. Maybe not, I don't know, the quantity I got from the year prior, but definitely in size. We just killed it. And we just picked all the way up through fall, let the bottom ones color up. For the most part, it looked like I picked that one a little early, but whatever. They tasted great. We had lots of stuffed peppers, lots to give away, lots to freeze. It was a really good year last year. And a couple of years ago, I shot a video on like a super soil and how to like transplant your transplants way out in advance of when you're going to put them in ground so that you can get earlier harvests quicker than your neighbors, and the plants just get absolutely huge. And you actually get more production throughout the year by doing this. And this year, I figured I'd put together a super soil for both peppers and tomatoes. Get these things, get the first plants out of the nursery, get them in bigger pots or bags, use up last year's organic materials, and create a super soil. I'm going to shoot 2 separate videos for the super soil, one for peppers, which is this, and another for tomatoes, which will be next, because I'm adding different ingredients, okay? And by that I mean peppers, in my experience, are not huge nitrogen lovers. So the stuff I'm picking is both leftover, but also it's lower in nitrogen, if you will, higher in potash, higher in potassium or phosphorus. But the last 2 numbers are really important for bell peppers. You will reap benefits later for it. So different growers mix, compost I've got leftover. Well, the compost is new, but all the other stuff here, I've got BioLive, which is a combination of organic materials. Bone meal is huge for both peppers and plants, or a form of calcium. Calcium is huge. Azomite for the minerals. It tastes better with all the minerals in the soil. Kelp meal, fish bone meal. The bone meal is important, right? So a couple of different kinds of bone meal here, and I've got Biotone, which is a starter fertilizer, lots of mycorrhiza in it, and then I've also got a standalone mycorrhiza. And I'm going to mix all of these bad boys up in a tub, and I'm going to take my 3-inch pots that I got from the nursery, and we're going to upsize them into 6-inch pots, because you don't want them to get totally root bound in this process. So we're upsizing, also putting in obviously some earthworm castings. Lots of goodies are going in this tub to upsize them and to give them all these nutrients well in advance, get the process started, get these things breaking down so that come plant out, your plants are going to be 2-3 times the size of your neighbors because they're going to go to the nursery late and get all the leftover plants. And we're going to be way ahead of the game with all these nutrients in there. So I don't add tons of this stuff. It may look like it, but it's a handful at a time or a half a handful at a time mixed in. Again, compost, bone meal, fish bone meal, azomite, all of that good stuff is going to go into a little bit of potting soil. We're going to top it off with some compost. We're going to mix this stuff up really well. And then we're also going to hit the root zone during transplant with some of that standalone mycorrhiza and that starter biotone stuff. And the reason we want to do that is because the mycorrhiza bonds to the root system. Really important for it to be in contact with the roots. You can put it in the soil, but you're taking kind of a gamble that it won't hit the root zone right away. And you want that mycorrhiza and beneficial bacteria to definitely hit that root zone right away so that it starts forming the bond. And what will that do? That will help us with nutrient uptake and water uptake, and your plants will outproduce everyone. So, all that good stuff, cup of tea, some next size up pots, and we're going to get planting. It's as simple as that. And obviously, this is good stress relief from the world and work. That's what this should be about, is having a little bit of fun, taking care of your plants, trying to get your mind off of the stresses in life. That's why I do this stuff. I don't find this to be stressful. If I did, I wouldn't do it. So, a little bit in the bottom of the pot, a little bit of biotone, and then we're going to go in over top of that with some standalone mycorrhiza of your choice. I'm using the Dynamyco. Mycos makes a great brand of mycorrhiza. Azos, which I'll be adding later, adds beneficial bacteria into the soil, and that helps with root growth. You want to get the roots as big and as massive and as thick and as spread out as possible without going root bound before you get them into the soil. So I really baby transplants. I baby the hell out of them. It's much like a human being. If you care and nurture for your children, chances are they're going to be more successful in life later on. Same with your plants. Don't neglect them, especially when they're young. You set them up correctly when they're young, and they will prosper later on in life. And by that, I mean like 2 months, 3 months. We'll be picking shit. It's going to be amazing. Couple of different kinds of peppers. These are those rando peppers I get year over year. Don't know the variety. Big blocky green ones. Love them. You can see they're yellowing on the top, so they are starving for a little bit of nitrogen right now, but that's okay. We're going to help out there. We're also going to feed them with a little bit of kelp. That's more mineral-based. It's a liquid version, diluted down. It really doesn't have much nitrogen, and it's like 0.5%, so it's not really going to do much for you. Where we're going to get them nitrogen is through a foliar feed. We're going to drench the leaves with fish hydrolysate, which might be the single best thing I've found in organic gardening. Started using it last year. The shit is amazing. You see results like the next day. Leaves will green up, they perk up, and the growth is unbelievable. Obviously, some of that fish hydrolysate is getting into the soil, which is good because you can feed them through the roots too. But you want to drench the leaves really well. Once they dried off, and yes, it does smell, not going to lie, it smells like fish, but whatever. These are going to go under the lights because it's still way too cold in Michigan to plant out. And that's where their home is going to be for a few weeks until we get low temperatures in at least 50 and above, and it starts to get warm. And that's when these plants will really start to grow and grow. The lights that they're under are under metal halide lights. In my grow room, they're 400. No, I got a 400 water and a 600 water. Just get them under some lights. Look at this. This is 5 days later. Look at what that fish hydrolysate did to these plants. Completely greened up, for the most part. You might have a little bit of yellowing on some of them. These plants have almost doubled in 5 days and almost tripled in 8. Here they are. They need watering after 8 days. I let them dry out a little bit, but not completely. I don't want to starve them. Brought them back outside for another shot of water and another dose of fish hydrolysate. But look at these plants in just 8 days. They're like tripled. They're unbelievable. Again, a touch of yellowing, but we're going to hit them with some fish hydrolysate, and we're also going to hit them with some azos. Again, overkill, but it's a beneficial bacteria that's going to get into the soil, that's going to spur on root growth. So that's a nice little super soil for you guys, a handful at a time. Just don't let your plants get root bound, and guys, care for them as much as humanly possible until you get them in the ground. Once they're in the ground, all you got to do is water, add a few organic ingredients, prep your bed, and watch them grow. So I'll see you guys at Plant Out, guys. Sorry for this long video, but that's what I'm doing this year for my peppers. See you at tomato super soil time.
Go to the greenhouse, nursery, big box store, and find your pepper plants in this condition, this early in the game. Immaculate. Oh, I forgot tomatoes too. Immaculate.